Hey y'all, let's get real. It's Ashley Dawn. I love to get real with y'all. And something that's just been on my heart lately that I'm like, you know what? Most of the time, whatever I'm going through, other people are going through it too. So maybe this can encourage them. Maybe it can help them. Maybe it can help you. So recently, I have just been going through it with somebody in my life that just is not treating me the way they would want me to treat them. They're just not. And it reminded me that as a Christian, as a believer, we're called to treat people the way that we want to be treated and even better. Like multiple times in the Bible, Jesus says, if somebody takes your jacket, give them your shoes too. If somebody asks you to go a mile, go a second mile for them. If somebody, needs you to help them, help them. If you have the ability to bless somebody and, you're praying that they would be blessed, just bless them. Like, stop praying for them to be blessed and be the vessel of blessing for them. So much we just expect God to be this magical genie in the sky waving this wand that just helps everybody. No, we are the magical wand that He created to help people. He puts His knowledge and His love and His kindness and His grace and His compassion in us. And from that, we are then supposed to take that love, kindness, grace, compassion, and pour it out on the people around us in the name of Jesus. That's what being a Christ follower is supposed to be. That's what being a Christian or a little Christ or Christ-like is supposed to be. We are supposed to be flavoring the earth with the kindness, the compassion, the love of Jesus. So that when people say, man, there's something different about him, there's something different about her, have you ever realized they are just so nice? They're so outgoing. They're so kind. They're always saying kind things about other people. That's beautiful. I'm single. I've been single for a very long time. I think I'm running on 10 years. And people ask me all the time, Ashley Dawn, what are you looking for? You're single? And I'm like, yeah, I'm single because nobody is on my level. They're just not. And it's not necessarily looks, although looks do play a big part. It's not necessarily money. Obviously, you got to pay your bills. Don't live at home with your mom. But the biggest thing for me is character. What would my life look like if I was with you? What kind of character do you have? Are you loving? Are you kind? Are you generous? Are you gentle? Are you compassionate? Do you go out of your way to help others when nobody's watching? Or do you only go out of your way to help people so you can brag about it? Because the Bible warns about that too. It says, if you get your treasure on earth, good luck, you ain't getting it in heaven. If people are clapping and applauding for you on earth, good luck, you ain't getting it in heaven. I want my treasure in heaven. Yes, it's nice to feel good. Yes, it's nice when people compliment you and say you're great and, you get awards, and I just got an award and it was very awesome and it made me feel great. But guess what? I got that award on earth. I ain't getting it in heaven. One of the most spiritual moments I have ever had in my life was at Graceland. And I love Elvis. Anybody that knows me knows Elvis is my guy. I used to want to marry him till I realized that he was a little bit of a drug addict. And he also was old enough to be like my grandfather. So that, ruined it for me. And then also he was not alive. So there's that. But I loved his music. I loved his movies. I loved his persona in the music and the movies. I didn't know the real Elvis. I just knew the guy that was portrayed on the movies. And so much we see people, right? People have asked me, well, why don't you go on dating sites? Well, I'll tell you real quick why I don't go on dating sites. Because anybody can say anything with 140 characters, right? Anybody can say that they are this great, amazing person. And when you meet them and the rubber meets the road, you realize all that was just a line. That was just the chorus in a song. They are not who they said they would be. And even I have a friend who just started dating somebody and she's like, he's so great. He's so wonderful. I'm like, y'all have been dating for a month. Give it a year, give it 2 years, give it 10 years. That wonderful, great guy, I hope, is just as wonderful in 10 years as he is now. But chances are he won't be, because a lot of people fake stuff, especially online. And it's easy to pretend. It's easy, especially in the beginning stages, because people don't really know who you are. It's easy for that. But the cruelest thing that you can do is being fake, is being somebody that you're not. Because not only are you really withholding love from yourself, and really, if you're being fake, you hate yourself. You just do. Nobody that has a good self-image, that loves themselves the way that God created them to love themselves, lies or pretends to be someone other than who God created them to be. So you got to get your own self-image figured out first before you can love anybody else. And if you hate yourself, I highly encourage you to stay single until that changes, because that self-hate you have is just going to get projected on anybody that you're in a relationship with the second they don't do what you want them to do. So just putting that out there. But when you're fake, you withhold love from yourself. Nobody can fall in love with the real you when you're not showing them who the real you is. Nobody can fall in love with the real you if you're constantly pretending to be somebody that you're not. You can't. So I just encourage you, be yourself. Okay, you got some flaws, show them. I guarantee you somebody's going to love those flaws. Now, if it's addiction, you need to get a handle on that. Like, don't be bringing addiction into relationships, because that's just going to self-destruct. And it could be an addiction of any kind. It could be gambling. It could be pornography. It could be alcoholism. That's a huge one. And America got it wrong because they promote it like it's the greatest thing on earth, and it's not. It turns the most beautiful people in the world to some of the ugliest. It makes them do terrible, horrible things and become just terrible versions of themselves. And it's really unhealthy too. Or drugs. Again, it takes really beautiful people and makes them think really not beautiful things. It destroys lives. And if you are on here and you feel conviction, listen, I'm not judging you. That's between you and Jesus. I do not have nail prints in my hands. I do not have the opportunity to say who goes to heaven and who doesn't. Because if I did, there'd probably be a lot different people if I had the say-so and who was in heaven. I'm just saying. But thank God I'm not. I don't get to choose who goes to heaven. That's Jesus. Whoever believes in him will have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but will have everlasting life. John 3:16. I love that verse. I also love John 3:17 and 3:18. But the thing is, if you're not being real, if you're constantly being fake, if you're pretending to be something that you are not, people can't really love you because they don't know the real you. I had a conversation, I was texting somebody, and they are just withholding the truth from me, which is very unkind, and it just makes me not trust them and not respect them, because I know what the truth is, or I have an idea of what the truth is. Thankfully, God gives me a lot of wisdom, and he gives me visions, and I see things, and I'm very grateful for that. And the more time you spend in the Word, God will continue to give you visions and dreams, and he'll show you things about people and about yourself that you didn't know before. I'm very grateful for that. And so I asked this person a question, and they refused to answer it. They are dancing around it. They don't want to answer it because they know the truth would not produce the outcome that they think it would produce. They have no idea. They don't know me. They think they do, but they don't. And they just won't be honest with me. And that's fine. Like, that's between them and God, and they're going to have to deal with the consequences for that. But I just messaged them and I said, it's very cruel to leave me in the dark about something that matters when you're holding a flashlight that you could easily turn on and illuminate the entire situation and fix it. It's very cruel that you have the power to illuminate it and you're choosing not to. And of course, they didn't respond. I didn't think they would. It just shows you that they don't care. But if you're facing that in your life, if you're facing maybe someone in your life has betrayed you, has lied to you, has cheated on you, has withheld the truth from you, has created a story that really is not true, I'm sorry. Because that sucks. And it hurts. And when somebody that you love or somebody that you care for or somebody that you're related to betrays your trust or loses your respect, it's very hard for them to regain that respect, and it's very hard for them to regain that trust. But it does something to you. Like, it's not strangers that hurt you. And if they did, it wouldn't hurt you because it's a stranger. Who cares? Somebody says something about you. Okay, I don't know you. You don't know me. See you later, dude. But it's the people that are the closest to us that have the most power to hurt us. A lot of times our family. because they're supposed to love us, right? We're connected by DNA, we're connected by blood. They're supposed to love us, and when they don't, it hurts. That friend that you've had for 4 or 5, 6, 7 years that said they would always be there, and said that they were a lifer, and said that they loved you so much and they had your back and they would always be there for you. It hurts when they're not. It hurts when you need them and they're nowhere to be found. That hurts really, really badly. And especially when somebody is fake, and when somebody lies, and when somebody's two-faced, that hurts. Because then it makes you question if you ever had a friendship to begin with. It makes you question if anything they ever said was the truth. If anything you ever did was special or important, or if it really even mattered. Those things they said before, you start to question everything. Everything. And so, as someone who is currently walking through that situation with someone that I thought was a friend, that I thought loved me, that I thought knew me, clearly doesn't know me, and clearly doesn't respect me, what do you do when somebody treats you that way? Well, you treat them the way you would want them to treat you. If you want them to be honest with you, you're honest with them. If you want them to be transparent with you, you're transparent with them. And after all that, if you're just treating them with kindness and treating them with love and treating them with compassion, if nothing changes, then maybe that season in your life is over. Maybe that person doesn't deserve to have you in their future. If they're doing things, if they're abusing you, if they're hurting you, if they are neglecting you, abandoning you, pushing you away, maybe that's God's sign to you that that season in your life is over and He's removing it to make room for something better. I have had lots of friends throughout my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And I have grieved and mourned when friends lied to me or betrayed me, or I had one friend that actually hooked up with my boyfriend. And that was a pain that I didn't know about. And it hurt. It hurt really, really bad. Because I had a boyfriend that I loved, and then I had a friend that I loved that I thought I knew and I thought had my back. I thought both of them had my back. And they ended up hooking up. And it hurt for a long time. And they got married. And they had kids. And they had this little life together. And that hurt. Now I'm healed from it, and I'm to a point to where I'm happy for them, and I can look back and be like, they were meant to be. There's a reason him and I didn't work out, and you know what? I can cheer for her, and I can be excited for her, and I don't have to be in her life anymore. Sometimes there are friends that remove themselves from your life. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes your life makes people uncomfortable. At the time, these two people, and I'll just talk about them for a minute, my friend and my ex-boyfriend, they drank a lot. And I didn't drink alcohol. I didn't party. I didn't do that. But he did. And she did. And so I would go to the bars, and I would be his designated driver. And I didn't like it. And there was one of my friends that was there. She was Christian, and she would drink, but she wouldn't get drunk. She'd have like one drink. I think she'd have like one beer or one little, I think it was like, I don't know, it was in a white bottle. She used to drink it. Anyway, she would have like one drink. And we sat down one day, and he was, being stupid and drinking and being sloppy. And she looked at me and she said, Ashley Dawn, you don't belong here. And I looked at her and I said, you're absolutely right. I don't. But I love him. And she looked at me in the eyes and she said, Ashley Dawn, you can love him all you want, but he doesn't love you if he's putting you in situations that make you uncomfortable. And I will never forget that conversation. We were at Stevie Tomato Sports Page, and at night it turned into like a little club. Like they had a DJ, they had music, and I will never forget, it was like a light bulb went off. I know you love him, But if he loved you, he wouldn't put you in situations you're uncomfortable in. And that was all that I needed. I had a conversation with him. I let him know that I did not want to go to bars anymore. I did not want to be his designated driver anymore. I didn't want to be around drunk people that were hitting on me and flirting with me all the time. I was in a relationship. I wanted to be doing things with just him. I didn't want the party scene. I didn't want that life. And he used to have house parties at his house all the time, and there was lots of drinking. And again, the same thing. I was uncomfortable. And if he really loved me, he would never have put me in those situations. So that was my sign. Hey, he can't be in my life anymore. And my friend at that time, she drank and she partied too. And so it just made sense that they were drinking and partying and sinning and doing all the things together. Now, I think they've slowed down in life because they've got like 4 or 5 kids, and I hope they have. But I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they found somebody that was on the same level as them. A lot of times that's the thing too. You're on one level, right? You're career focused and you're driven and you're trying to maybe go after your goals. And then it's very hard to date somebody or to be friends with somebody that sleeps all day or doesn't work or has no goals or has no drive or doesn't want more for their life or better for their life. It's very hard to be in a friendship with somebody like that because you want more for them than they want for themselves. And sometimes it's really hard. And sometimes you get into arguments. I had another friend, and I love my friends. I'm not saying their names because I don't want to embarrass them, and I'm not judging them. So if you're listening and you're like, hey, she's talking about me, like that's my story. I love you. And I'm just saying that these are some things that may help people. So I have one friend, and she was dating a guy who was in drug addiction. He was in and out of rehabs. He was just in drug addiction. And he really didn't treat her the way that he should have and that she deserved. And it was so hard for me to be a friend to her in that season. She's not with him anymore. But it was so hard for me to be a friend to her in that season because I loved her so much. And I could tell that this guy did not love her. He was not treating her right. He was not honoring her. He wasn't, leading her to Christ. He wasn't going to church with her. He wasn't buying her flowers, planning dates, being romantic. Like, he wasn't doing anything. And she's a good girl. Like, she deserved it. And I had to separate myself for her from a time. I said, listen, I love you, but I cannot be around him. Like, it pains me to watch the way he treats you. I can't be around him. And so for a season, it was like, I want to say it might have been a year. It might have been a year where I just texted her or I just talked to her, but we didn't see each other. We didn't hang out. We didn't really spend time together. And then once they broke up, she messaged me and she's like, hey, I love you. I'm sorry I didn't take your advice. I'm like, listen, girl, I love you and I'm trying to be a friend. Well, they got back together and I was stuck because I'm like, what do? I love her, but I don't want to be around him. And I said, you know what? How would I want somebody to treat me if I was going through this? I'd want them to love me and encourage me, and I'd want them to be honest with me. And so I was honest with her in a kind way. I was there for her. Her and I spent time together. I refused to be around him because he flirted with me and he made passes at me. And I was just like, you're disgusting. Like, you're dating my friend. You're gross. And little by little by little, she saw what love looked like, and he didn't look like it anymore. And she broke up with him again. But I look back and I'm like, I wish I would have treated her that way the first time. Something I will say about myself, I tend to, if I feel disrespected, if I feel lied to, if I feel like I can't trust somebody, I tend to block them. I tend to cut them out of my life because I feel like if I can't trust somebody, and if they don't respect me enough to tell me the truth, that they're unsafe. And I have been in so many situations in my life where I have felt unsafe, and it has hurt me physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, stress can kill you. And I've been in the hospital many times from stress. And so I, in like a self-preservation, keeping myself safe, anytime I feel unsafe, anytime I feel like I cannot trust somebody, they're lying to me, they're hiding things from me, I block them. And is that the healthiest? Maybe not. Maybe I should talk about my feelings a little bit more before I get to cutting people out of my life. But for me, I never want to go back to where I came from. I never want to be back in the hospital. I never want stress to put me in the position that I used to be. So when those times come up, so when those moments come up where I feel unsafe and unsure of my safety in relationship to that person, whether it's a boyfriend, whether it's a friend, whether it's a, somebody I'm dating, whatever, when I feel unsafe, it's over. Like, it's done. When I feel like I can't trust them or I feel disrespected, it's over. I'm done. So in that position, I felt unsafe because she was bringing me around this guy who was a danger to himself and everyone around him. I wasn't trying to go to jail because I was hanging out with a druggie. I was not trying to go to jail if he had something on him he shouldn't have. I work very hard for my reputation. I work very hard to live a life that I can be proud of, that my parents can be proud of. I am not trying to go to jail over somebody else's stupid mistake. That is not happening. And so I will say I did cut her out of my life. And was that the most loving thing for her? No. Was it the most loving thing for me? Abso-dang-lutely. And she realized that. She's like, you know what? It hurt me that you did that, but I understand. I understand why you did that. You're protecting yourself. And sometimes you do have to protect yourself, especially in those situations where the person that you care about doesn't protect you. Because if they're not going to protect you, you better protect you. But I will say, you don't need to protect yourself if the person is being transparent. You don't need to protect yourself if the person is being honest, which honesty is a bare minimum. Transparency is the goal. When somebody tells you what's going on and you don't even have to ask. Like when someone says, what do I look for in a relationship? Obviously, I look for someone that loves the Lord above all else. And then they love themselves. And then they love their neighbor. They're kind, they're compassionate, they're sweet, they're thoughtful. Those things matter to me. But then my safety, are they going to protect me? Physically, emotionally, mentally? Are they going to tell me what's going on without my asking about it? If they're out with a female at dinner, they're going to tell me about it before I ask about it. If they've done something that they regret doing, they're going to tell me before I have to ask or before I find out in another way. Transparency is beautiful. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give to somebody. I want to be with somebody who's transparent. I want to be with somebody who puts my needs above their own, who puts my safety above their own. And if you're doing it right, you're putting each other's safety above your own. So you're always looking out for each other's back. You always got each other's six. But so often, people are only concerned with themselves. They only care about themselves. They only care about what it does for them, how it benefits them. And that's why I've been single for so long. And I will be single and I will continue to be until I find somebody that loves the Lord, that doesn't have addictions, that isn't drinking, that isn't drugging, that isn't sleeping around, that loves the Lord, that loves his people, that loves himself, that has a good self-image, that is goal-oriented, that is focused on the things of the Lord, that wants to better his life and better the lives of those around him, that wants to be a good father and a good husband and to have a great marriage. That's what I'm waiting for. And I'll wait until I'm 90 if that's how long it takes. I am not settling. I'm not settling for somebody out of my league. I'm not doing it. Because then what happens, then you have to carry them. I ain't carrying nobody. You can carry yourself. You're an adult. You're not going to complete me. I'm not going to complete you. Jesus is going to complete us both. And we are going to be two complete individuals working together to build a life together and to help other people in the process. And hopefully maybe one day raising children to love and respect and honor the Lord the same way that we do. But I'm not settling. And I highly, highly, if you're a young woman or a young man watching this, or an old man or an old woman, do not settle. Because that is something that you are going to regret for the rest of your life. Take as much time as you need to make sure that the person in your life respects you, gives you honesty, gives you transparency, honors you, and creates a safe environment for you where you never feel uncomfortable. And if you feel uncomfortable, they notice it and they talk to you about it and they ask you how they can help you understand or be more comfortable. That's what you need to wait for. And if you're in a situation with somebody you're dating or somebody you're friends with or just anybody, and they're being dishonest with you, maybe it's a coworker, and they're not being transparent, they're not answering your questions, they're not being their true self, love them, be kind to them, but understand it's okay for you to have boundaries. I'm not saying block them out of your life, but I am saying don't settle. Don't lower your standards, don't lower your boundaries just because somebody can't meet them or doesn't want to meet them. Because a lot of times they could meet them if they wanted to, they just don't want to. And I truly believe the saying, if they wanted to, they would. You don't have to convince anybody to do anything they want to. They've already done it. And you can't unconvince somebody to do something that they want to do because they're going to do it anyway. So when people are like, oh, I didn't want to do that. Well, you did it, so apparently you did want to. I know the Bible says that Paul says, you know, the things that I want to do, I don't do, and the things I don't want to do, I do. That's talking about sin. That's talking about the flesh. He was unable to die to the flesh, and so he made choices out of his control because he was controlled by the flesh. I'm not talking about sin. I'm not talking about fleshly desires. I'm talking purely about, is it this way or that way? That way. Okay, thank you. I'm talking about when someone is kind to you, someone is loving to you, somebody shows you who they really are, or somebody refuses to show you who they really are, and you just have to decide, you know what? You can't be honest with me. You can't be transparent with me. This is going to be the end of this friendship. This is going to be the end of this relationship, because if I can't trust you, if I can't know who I'm dealing with, and I can't know that you have my back and I can trust you and you'll be there, and if I need you, I can call you, then what's the point of the relationship? What's the point of the friendship? If you're always going to lie, if you're always going to steal, if you're always going to hide or pretend or be dishonest, what's the point? What's the point of being a friend with somebody that can't be honest with you? It says in the Bible, the truth will set you free. So whatever you're facing that you feel like you can't be honest about, it's a trust thing. You have to trust God to be your fullest, most honest self, and trust that He's going to work it all out for your good. Even the hard things. If you make a mistake, if you do something, listen, if you do something illegal, you better be honest about it. You better tell the judge, you better tell the court, the sheriff, the whoever, the truth, because they're going to find it one way or the other. And now with social media and videos and Ring cameras, and listen, the truth is out there, and it is only a matter of time before people find it. So be honest. My daddy used to say all the time, just be honest, Ash. And I'd be like, but if I'm honest, people may not like me, or this may hurt somebody's feelings. And he's like, be kind, but be honest. If it hurts their feelings, tell them you're sorry. But never allow a fear of judgment or a fear of somebody's opinion or a fear of hurting somebody stop you from being honest. You're never going to regret telling the truth. You're never going to regret being honest. You will regret lying, especially when they find out the truth. You will regret ruining a friendship because you couldn't be honest with them. And I will say, I've dated a good bit, and I have more respect for the people that I've met along the way that have been honest with me than the people that I've met along the way that haven't been honest. Like, I had this one guy that I was dating. I won't call him a boyfriend because he really wasn't a boyfriend. But I had this guy that I was seeing for a while, super nice guy. And it was probably, I want to say it might have been 5 or 6 months that we were kind of seeing each other, dating. This is back in 2007, 2006, 2005. somewhere around there. And he went out on New Year's Eve, and he hooked up with a girl. And I was not hooking up with him. I think, I don't remember. Maybe he was my boyfriend. Yeah, he was my boyfriend. He was. I think we kissed, but that was it. There was no intimacy other than kissing, and I think we held hands. It was very sweet and respectful, and he was a nice guy. I liked his mom. That's actually how I started. Or no, I think I met him on MySpace. Yeah, I think I did. I think he friend requested me on MySpace and then asked me out. Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, nice guy. We went to church together. We went to country concerts together. But he went out on New Year's Eve and he was drinking and he slept with his girl. And he called me and he said, I have something to tell you and you're not going to like it, but I just need to tell you because you deserve to know. And he told me, listen, I got drunk last night. I hooked up with this girl at this bonfire party. I don't want to be with her. It was just a hookup. I'm sorry. I want to be with you. Can you forgive me? And I forgave him, but I asked him to not go to parties and to not drink anymore, because I'm like, listen, if this is an issue, if you're drinking and you can't control yourself, maybe don't go out drinking and maybe don't go to these parties. And he's like, I won't. So we kept dating, and actually we might have dated more than 6 months. Might have been closer to a year. Anyway, we kept dating. I forgave him. I'm like, I was so grateful he was honest. I'm like, I don't love that idea, but you're honest. I can respect that. So we kept dating. And then I think it was, so that was New Year's, and he told me like right after. So I think it was like the 10th or the 11th that he told me. And then, yeah, I think we did date for a year. Then it was 4th of July. And so 4th of July, I worked for the radio station at the time. And so we had a huge 4th of July party that I had to be at for work. And I invited him, and did he come to it? I think he did. I think he did come to it for a little bit. And then he left, and he said he was going out on the boat with his friends. And I'm like, okay, great. So he leaves and he goes out on the boat with his friends. And a couple days later, we're having dinner, and he tells me that he hooked up with somebody again. Obviously, I appreciate the honesty, but at that point, I'm like, okay, it's not a mistake anymore. This is a lifestyle, and I can't be with somebody that is doing this. So we broke up. He ended up marrying the first girl that he hooked up with. So that's a whole side note. I think they got 4 or 5 kids now too. So that's my story. Anyway, honesty is always the best policy. Love someone enough to tell them the truth, and be transparent before they even ask for it. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Do you want to know the truth? Do you want someone to be transparent with you? Well, then be transparent with them. Always, always, always focus on what God says. I love you, but God loves you more. I can say lots of smart things, but He's got the wisdom. You are seen, you are celebrated, and you are oh so very loved. Don't you ever forget that. He has a purpose and a plan for you, and it's a good one. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next one.